Hi everyone, welcome to Make Your Day Richer. I, of course, am your host, Merv Griffin. Today I'm joined by an award-winning journalist and author who celebrates female strength in all its forms. Haley Shapley is the writer behind Strong Like Her, a book about the inspiring history of women's physical prowess. With her writing featured in publications like Shape, Self, and Forbes Health, and her own incredible athletic feats, Haley's here to share what it truly means to be strong. So if that sounds like a good show to you, click that like button, click that share button, and let's start the show.
Make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
We are here with Haley Shapley. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. I want to talk about your book, Strong Like Her. Can you tell everybody about the book?
Sure. It is a cultural history about women and physical strength that looks at how our ideas about muscularity and fitness have changed over time. It starts in ancient Greece and makes some interesting stops along the way, like at the circuses of the early 1900s, Muscle Beach in the 1930s, the weight rooms of the 1970s, and then the running tracks and soccer fields of today.
How did you get into this work? Because what do you do outside of writing this book?
I have been a writer my entire career, but I've written about a lot of different things. So I was primarily a travel writer for a long time, and I have always written about health and fitness, but it wasn't until I signed up for a bodybuilding show that I got the idea for this book. And that is because people reacted in really interesting ways to me. I found that some people were really excited and they wanted to know what my training plan looked like, what my diet looked like, what my sparkly bikini would look like on stage. But other people were like, oh, don't get too big because men won't like that. Or don't hurt yourself, don't lift too heavy. And I found it interesting that even in today's world where women have a lot more options, especially in fitness than they used to, we still have these ideas about what activities women should pursue and how their bodies should look. So I wanted to look into kind of the trailblazers who had lifted weights before me and see what it was like for them and whether our ideas have kind of progressed in a linear fashion or if there were periods of time when it was cooler to be strong.
What are you hearing from people that have read the book? Because it's so fascinating that it has this, I don't know, idea of what women's fitness should be for so long, and kind of where it's come to right now. And I'm curious also, like, I have other questions for you. So why not that one first?
Sure. I think a lot of people, for one, are inspired by the stories of the trailblazers because I think it's easy to be disconnected from the past and what it took to get from here to there. And when you read these stories about, circus star Sanduina, who was picking 3 men up at a time and, actually making money in the circus, which was a hard thing for women to do. They were often relegated to sideshow acts, but she was able to overcome that with her incredible talent and the way she marketed herself, to be honest. When you hear about Catherine Switzer, who I had a chance to interview, who was the first woman to run in the Boston Marathon as an official participant, and the race organizers were trying to push her off the track as she was running, and it was very scary, but she persisted. And now running is an extremely accepted, common activity for people, but that was not the case back then. I love the story of Ada Anderson from the 1800s, who was a pedestrian. That was a sport that was not even That's not even a thing now that we don't know about, but it was America's first spectator sport. And it involved walking in a circle for a really long time or walking from point A to point B. But she was able to be so entertaining and so walk such long distances with no sleep whatsoever that she captivated audiences and became a very rich woman, and also gave women the idea that they could walk, that they could get some fitness at a time when most of the medical advice at the time was to not sweat, to not exert yourself, that you had only a finite amount of energy. And if you used any for anything outside of child rearing, that you were wasting your, potential. So I think when people read it and they learn these stories, they become inspired, and a lot of women are discovering like weightlifting for the first time and how empowering it can really be to pick up something heavy off the ground, or whether it's another kind of fitness activity that they enjoy. I think most people have liked getting that little dose of inspiration from the past.
Are there things that you found while you were researching and writing this book that just blew? I mean, all of these, for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe there were women not running the Boston Marathon. Like, that just seems like such a thing we take for granted. Like, were there things that blew you away when you found them out?
I think along those lines, even into the 60s and beyond, there was this idea that if you ran, your uterus would fall out, or maybe you would grow hair on your face, or you would change your body in a way that was that you couldn't then change it back. You'd do permanent damage. When the bicycle first came out in the 1890s, the safety bicycle, which is basically the same bike that we have today, it became a real craze in the US and around the world, because suddenly, like, you had this relatively inexpensive contraption that could get you places. And for many women, it was the first time that they had a little taste of independence, because they were able to go out without a chaperone. They were getting some fitness. They could go see friends. So one of the things that came out of that was this idea of bicycle face, which was this condition that people believed women would get, not men for some reason, where your jaw would clench and your eyes would bulge and you would stay like that forever. So people would spread this idea to keep women from riding a bike. And that was all tied into that little taste of independence they were getting from it, because once women started riding a bike, they started thinking, hey, I'd like to be able to vote now. And so the bike played a pretty big role in the women's suffrage movement. So I think just the misinformation that was spread to keep women out of athletics was probably one of the most surprising things I learned about.
That's crazy. The book is called Strong Like Her. I'm curious how you settled on that name, and if there were any other names or titles for the book that you were thinking of.
Oh, that's a good question. That name was a collaboration with my editor, Karen Marcus, and Strong was always part of it. And I think we were just trying to find a title that encapsulated what it was about, and Strong Like Her just seemed to fit. We also threw around Strong AF, just Strong, although there are books with that title as well. There were some others, but yeah, it was all kind of in that vein.
I love that you have spent your entire career writing. There's so much creativity in that, no matter really what you're writing. Can you talk about that? And like, is that what you wanted to be when you were a kid, when you grew up?
Yeah, it's funny. Whenever I run into someone I grew up with, who I haven't kept in touch with, they always kind of assume that I'm a writer. So I guess I was always on that path. I vividly remember in fifth grade, I really wanted to get chosen for this young authors conference, and I didn't get picked. And I was so devastated, but I got chosen the next year, so it worked out. And yeah, I was always like the editor of the yearbook. In college, I was the editor of my college newspaper. my first job out of college was working at a magazine, and prior to that, my internships were at newspapers and in communications offices. So yeah, I was always on that path. I've always liked to write. I think it's how I express myself the best. And I just love telling people stories. It's so interesting to chat with people, learn about them, find a way to present information in an entertaining, informative, engaging way. So I always say it's kind of like being a lifelong student because I always have homework, but luckily I don't have to take tests. So it's just the homework that I have to do.
But it's a lot of work that goes into writing a book. I can't read 2 books at one time. It's very confusing to me of which one. Do you write multiple books at the same time? Are you working on different things, or are you
No, one book at a time. I can read 2 books at a time though. And I used to think I couldn't, and then I started doing so. I think they have to be in different genres, and I think it helps if like you read a hardcover book, and then maybe you listen to an audiobook or something along those lines. But no, to write a book, I really like immerse myself in that topic, and I don't think that I could do 2 at a time, but I know there are other authors who do, and I don't understand how they do that.
We'll get you both on the same show next time to talk about that, because I don't get it. I don't get it either. Are you working on something now?
I am. My next book is called Night Owl, and it is about the science, culture, and history of people who stay up late. So although it is a different topic, I'm equally passionate about both and have been for a long time. I grew up playing sports, and so I always had that interest in women and fitness. But I also grew up going to bed late, and I've always, like back to junior high, just struggled with getting up in the morning for school, and the idea that people who go to bed later are lazy and that the early bird gets the worm, and that never sat right with me because I was a very good student and I was very conscientious in all aspects of my life, but I just could not get up when that alarm went off. So I'm digging into that now.
Well, I would love to have those people on my show because I go to bed at like 7 o'clock. So I don't understand how people can stay up late like that, because I'm tired. And I'm also not, well, I do get up early, but I also love a good 11, 12 hours of sleep too. So
hey,
that's just me. So
yeah, I mean, sometimes you just need that 11 hours. I'm a big 8 to 9 hour person. If I can get it, I will get it, because that's when I feel best. And speaking of fitness, like I recover better and perform better if I'm sleeping more.
Yeah. Well, maybe that I get up and I'm up at 4 o'clock to go to the gym by 5 for my whatever. And so maybe that's why I'm going to go that I'm recovering and I'm a better person because of it.
Okay. A very few times I've gone to the gym that early, and they were all times where I did not go to sleep the night before. So I just thought, I was like, I can do this. I'm going to be great. And I like get there. And then I realize, no, I'm working out very poorly right now. In my mind, I'm thinking like I'm crushing it, but in reality, I am not. But I do admire people who can work out that early. I typically work out from about 9 to 10 p.m. at night. So.
Oh no, that's halfway through my night. No.
Yeah, you're like, you are straight. You're in your REM cycle by then. Yeah, you're snoozing. I
will tell you that literally last night, my dog woke me up to go outside because we go to bed so early that in the middle of the night, she's like, okay, well, I'm still awake. And I walked downstairs and I thought, oh my gosh, I hope it's not like, how you're just hoping that it's not an hour before your alarm's going off. And I was like, I hope it's not 4 o'clock yet. And I looked and it was 10:45. And it was the middle of the night. So
wow. Yeah. No, I think what I'm learning from this research is that our circadian rhythms really are biologically hardwired, and there's only so much we can do to change them. So there isn't really virtue associated with whether you go to bed at 7 p.m. or 1 a.m. It's just about what works for you.
Yeah, it's so true. Yes. Although waking up at 4 doesn't work for me either. I hate it every day. But please come back when that book comes out. because I'd
Will
love to
do.
talk to
Yes,
you about that.
we can chat more about it. And I think night owls and early birds should actually be friends because we have more in common than you would think. It's really the people in the middle we should be fighting with because they can go either way. But the people at the ends, like you said, you have trouble staying up. I have trouble getting up. So we should just, collaborate and be against the people who could do either.
All right, let's do it. We'll start a little. This is going to be we're going to have a lot of TV screens on this show next time you're here because we have a lot of people to talk to. What's the best way that people can connect with you?
I'm on Instagram at Haley Shapley. My website is HaleyShapley.com. And yeah, you can feel free to reach out to me through either of those ways.
Easy. What do you love most about your life right now?
I love that I get the chance to fully immerse myself in these topics that greatly interest me. I find that I don't necessarily have a lot of work-life balance because I have made my work my life and integrated it in that way. And I think, it's a privilege to be able to do that. And I'm happy that I get to share what I learn with other people and have conversations like this. It's a pretty cool career.
That's a great answer. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Haley Shapley, the book Strong Like Her is available wherever you get your books, and we'll be right back after this. Don't go away. Life is difficult. Are you feeling overwhelmed or like you could use a little support for your mental well-being? Visit the Help Hub. It's the most comprehensive and inclusive free online destination for mental health resources, helpful tools, crisis hotlines, and supportive content. Just go to thehelphub.co to find the resources you need when you need them most. Unlike other resource pages, the Help Hub is divided into 16 different categories, ensuring that everyone in every community has access to the resources and support that matches their unique needs. Find the help you're looking for at thehelphub.co. Welcome back, everyone. Since today is all about strong women, Team Rosie, I want to tell you a little bit about what Rosie did for Hurricane Katrina after that happened in 2005. She was a significant figure in the relief efforts after Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Here's how she helped. She announced a donation of $1 million for aid in the rescue efforts and encouraged others to give until it hurts. She created the Children's Plaza at Renaissance Village. Her charitable foundation was a leading force in establishing the Children's Plaza at FEMA's Renaissance Village Trailer Park in Baker, Louisiana. The center provided essential services for children and families displaced by the hurricane, including facilities for early Head Start, elementary after-school programs, adult education, and social services. She used her platform to bring attention to the ongoing needs of Hurricane Katrina victims and the challenges they faced, even visiting the affected areas and engaging with FEMA. She emphasized the need for continued support and preparedness for future disaster. That's what she did after Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Not without a show. She didn't have a platform other than, her social media. Other people who shall not be named did nothing. Go make your day richer. Go make somebody else's day richer. You've made mine by watching this show, and I love you for it. We'll be back tomorrow with an all-new episode. Bye-bye.